if Muslims are practicing true Islam, then there should not be any challenge in absorbing, adjusting, and living in any of the society, whether it is Western or Eastern. In a short sentence, we have made a slogan of the teachings of Islam, that is love for all and hatred for none. And if that message is there, and as I have already said, the love of your country is part of your faith, both these messages are such, or the slogans are such, that I don't feel that we have any problem in adjusting ourselves in any of the society. We are law-abiding. We believe that Allah is not only for Muslims. Allah is Allah for the whole universe. And especially Allah likes His creation. Allah loves His creation. And wherever the rights of His creation are being denied, Allah is not happy with that. So, when you are discharging the rights towards your fellow being and you want to live peacefully in the society, you spread the message of love and harmony, I don't think there should be any problem in adjusting Muslims into the society.
Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad is the present head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, the most dynamic international community within Islam. The community was established by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad in Qadian, a small and remote village in India. He claimed to be the expected reformer of the latter days, the one awaited by all major world religions. Founded in 1889, the community has continued to spread throughout the world, flourishing under Caliphate, the system of spiritual leadership established after the demise of the Holy Founder. The current successor of this movement, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, continues the work of the Holy Founder to revive the spiritual and moral state of mankind. The movement embodies the benevolent message of Islam in its pristine purity, a movement that preaches peace, universal brotherhood, and submission to the will of God. Ahmadi Muslims have earned the distinction and reputation of being a law-abiding and peaceful community. Within a century, the movement has reached all the corners of the earth and has been recognized and praised by the global community.
Love for all, hatred for none. Those words from your third Khalifa are more important, more crucial, more essential today than they have ever been. And of course, the Ahmadi have always practiced this peace-loving philosophy.
You understand at a profound level that promoting religious freedom is an essential building block for peace and stability here and throughout the world. In this, we are allied with His Holiness, a courageous champion of religious freedom and of peace.
The key themes espoused by His Holiness in many of his addresses, those of religious tolerance, loyalty to country, rejection of extremism, rebellion, disorder, commitment to community, and the pursuance of peace, they resonate with the key values of the Australian military and all true Australians. I honour the sacrifices and risks you take to bring these messages to the world.
I would thank you also that you have stressed the importance of showing that Islam is the religion of peace, not the religion of hate, as it was stated on the wall in the Jalsa. Love for all, hatred for none. I think that is the message that the world really needs.
And Your Holiness, can I say to you, can I assure you that here in Australia you are among friends. You are among friends in this nation. And we know the Ahmadiyyan, we know that the Ahmadiyyan Muslim community are a righteous people and a good people and a godly people, loyal Australians and hard-working Australians. And in their heart and in their soul, they have a love of good because they have a love of God. And the God that the Ahmadiyyan community Worship is the God that I as a Christian worship, the one God, the only God, the God who always was, is now and forever shall be. That's the God that the Ahmadiyyan community worship, as do I. And Your Holiness, your illustrious reputation has preceded you here to Australia. Your stand around the world for interreligious harmony and tolerance and peace. And for these things, for this great task that you've undertaken, we praise you and we honour you and we exalt you here tonight, all these members of Parliament and all the other dignitaries as well.
The huge respect we all have, for your work day by day in making a reality of peace and brotherhood across the communities in this country and across the world.
Your Holiness, we need more leaders like you. We need more leaders of communities like this community who are prepared to stand up and speak the word of faith and, more importantly, speak the words of peace. Because it is only through voices like yours that we will have stability once more across the globe. That when people are confident that their religious leaders, their political leaders are prepared to stand up and speak out. Speak out when others seek to terrorise the world, that you are that voice of peace, that you are that voice of hope and that voice of strength, that strength of faith and that voice of courage.
In your work, in your communities and internationally, you reflect the best of Canadian values.
Wherever the movement has been established, it endeavours to exert a constructive influence of Islam through social projects, educational institutes, health services, Islamic publications, and the construction of mosques. These endeavours continue, despite the bitter persecution that the community suffers in some countries.
We need all the goodness we can find in today's world, and I applaud you for your contribution in Britain and worldwide to community cohesion and the enjoyment of diversity that is such a precious asset.
I would like to pay an additional tribute to the work being done by Ahmadis in raising standards in Africa and particularly in education.
Yes, Britain has welcomed the headquarters of the Ahmadis in this country, but it hasn't become something that's become, as it were, a closed sect in Britain. It's become a community that has sought to reach out to all of us. And that's very important, because the best way to break down the barriers of misunderstanding and prejudice is for that contact to happen, and I thank you for that.
Your faith is dedicated to serving the society that you live in, and from what I've seen, heard and experienced from mainstream charities, schools and churches, your faith and community have contributed in significant ways. I have personally experienced and heard that you have raised tens of thousands of pounds on sponsored walks for children, older people and people with disabilities. You have dedicated yourselves to charitable social projects, and most significantly of all, you have not distinguished between faiths, ethnicities or communities.
Whether it is the annual Clean Up Australia Day activities, Red Cross appeals, Biggest Morning Tea, Drumley Walk or Clean Up from 2011 and 2013 floods, the Ahmadiyya community have a clear focus on helping their fellow man. When floodwaters tore a path through Logan City in January this year, more than 50 members of the Ahmadiyya community donned the rubber gloves and spent many days assisting in the clean-up effort.
The community's many social projects aimed at helping those in need bears testimony to humanitarian concerns in respect of all human beings, regardless of race, colour or creed.
Your own work, Your Holiness, particularly in West Africa, is well known, and we heard just now about your attempts to bring water and energy supplies to some of the poorest communities in West Africa.
Together, we should fight common enemies such as illiteracy, disease, hunger, and poverty. The Ahmadiyya mission has put structures in place towards the fight against these common enemies in order to enhance the dignity of man.
What has so impressed me as I have come to understand more about the Ahmadiyya faith is your remarkable commitment to interfaith dialogue, your commitment to the principle of non-compulsion in religion, and your commitment to peace and tolerance. You, the Ahmadis, stand as a beacon in your strong belief that we must find the answers to these debates through open, thoughtful, and gentle discussion. And you are also a beacon because you show us that we must find the answers to these debates through practical action.
I'd like to start by saying just how important the work of the Ahmadiyya community is. It deepens others' understanding of your own faith, and it gives a voice to those who are marginalised in their own societies.
At this pivotal point in international relations, many questions and concerns have been raised concerning the doctrines of Islam. Most have incorrectly interpreted Islam as endorsing violence and terrorism. The Ahmadiyya community has always demonstrated the spirit of tolerance, goodwill, and true brotherhood. It advocates peace, love, and understanding among followers of different faiths. It firmly believes in and acts upon Quranic teachings. It strongly rejects violence and terrorism in any form and for any reason. The movement offers a clear presentation of Islamic wisdom, philosophy, morals, and spirituality, as derived from the Holy Quran and the practice of the Holy Prophet of Islam, Muhammad.
Your interpretation of jihad has always been in stark contrast to the extremist imams that we all deplore.
We especially applaud His Holiness for denouncing those who pervert faith by claiming it as a justification for violence. However we define God, it is wrong to kill in His name.
His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the present head of the community, continues in his effort to unite people from all faiths and cultures. He has travelled extensively to spread the message of peace and to remind everyone to respect the rights of other human beings. During these tours, His Holiness has met world leaders from the Far East to Europe, from North America to Africa, discussing the economic, social, and political problems facing the world today and how to create peace and justice in the world. He has also met religious and community leaders in order to share common values and core ideals universal to all religions and cultures, with a view to improving the moral state of mankind and creating an atmosphere of love and affection. He has personally initiated social projects and schemes to alleviate poverty and human suffering. His concern is not just about the well-being and moral state of the members of the Ahmadiyya community, but of the great human suffering of mankind at large.
Let us make a resolution. Let us make this resolution to promote the message of peace and brotherhood, which is your message to mankind, that people of different religions should not quarrel and fight with each other, but should accept and tolerate and live together in that spirit of brotherhood and peace, which is the essence of your religion.
I pray that may Allah the Almighty enable the people of the world to rise above their personal interests and desire in an effort to save the world from the coming destruction. It is the developed nations of the West that hold the greatest amount of power in today's world, and so it is your duty above others to pay urgent attention to these matters of crucial importance. Islam has drawn our attention to various means for peace. It requires absolute justice. It requires truthful testimony to always be given. It requires that our glances are not cast enviously in the direction of the wealth of others. And it requires that the developed nations put aside their own vested interests and instead help and serve the less developed and poorer nations with a truly selfless attitude and spirit. If all of these factors are observed, then true peace will be established. Here I would like to point out that this golden principle given by the Quran is not only for Muslims, but in fact it is a universal truth that in order to establish peace, justice must prevail.